how do you think separatism got started? Was it an intellectual thing or just an emotional thing?
No, I think it was political. I think it was.
Okay.
It was wanting not to. We were trying to find a way not to be patriarchal. And of course capitalism tied into that as well, but that was just the Marxist brand. There was the Marxist brand of separatism, which, had something to do with the intellect. But the real cultural feminists, the real lesbian feminists, we were all sort of the spiritual types, okay? And we were the ones who were saying, there is no place for us in this world. Everywhere we go, there's patriarchy. We cannot separate from the system. There is no such thing as separatism. We can separate ourselves, which you were saying a while ago. It's a matter of individual choice, and we just have to depend. But everywhere we go, it's the men running things. There's no way. So we immediately took off to the woods. We took off to the woods, and there was the heart of the Wanderground. A place where we were back with Mother Nature, still the only real female in all of the patriarchal metaphysics, in all of the patriarchal vision. There was no female anywhere except Mother Nature. We would allow nature to be Mother Nature. So we got back with our mother, and we were busy making sure that we were her daughters and that we were changing the world from the place of the Wanderground. That is, of having been separate enough to understand who we really were, then we could make the breaks and, begin to attack patriarchy. And maybe if all of us inhaled at the same time, all of the women in the world who understood that, and some men too, if they wanted to join us, we were real broad-minded every now and then, but if we all would just inhale together and then, exhale at the same time, we could blow the patriarchy away, like it would just go, whew, And so we were working for numbers, and we were working for a growing consciousness among us as women, for our knowledge of who we really were, that women are primary and men are an addition. And you don't even need them, because you can actually do ovular merging if you really want to. It doesn't matter whether it's a sperm or an egg, it's just a matter of, what kind of stimulation there is. That whole thing about, I even wrote an article I read an article called Women Can Have Children Without Men. And it was written by a guy at Vanderbilt, I forgot his name, Vanderbilt University, where he was talking about ovular merging. And it just knocked my socks off. And that then became the way that the Wanderground women were going to procreate. And we did, or that's what we wanted to think that we did.
So just a minute now. So, okay. You also said on the website that previously you had believed in materialism.
Yes.
Okay, but that also changed, that the stuff doesn't come from the material world, that the material world comes from the stuff?
That's right.
Okay.
See, that's the big change, Carla. You've named it right there. I mean, what is it Mao says, where do ideas come from? Do they fall from the tree? That's Marx. Do they fall from the trees, Does it fall like leaves from the tree? And, the answer to that question is, no, it doesn't fall like leaves from the tree. But it doesn't come except as a secondary function from the Hegelian, thesis, antithesis, dialectic. The ideas can come from that, and as a matter of fact, that is a huge producer of ideas. But ideas can also come from the vision, and that's a different function in the human being, I would say now.
So vision is sort of like out of the nowhere into the
That's
here.
right, exactly. It has no grounding in anything patriarchal. It has no grounding in anything intellectual. It is grounded only in the human psyche and the ways we can put images together. And that, of course, was Carl Jung's gift. Freud's to a certain extent, but more Carl Jung. And that's why that's why I really admire Carl Jung. How can I say that?
Okay.
missing.
All right, I get that. Okay. So then, what you believe is the way to go forward is to realize these visions and see them, and then somehow plant them into reality, or
The important,
do these?
yeah, there's more to it than that.
Okay.
You've got to, you can't just see them and think that they're great. You've got to really enjoy them. You've got to really participate in them. You've got to play them. You've got to love them. You've got to. This is the Abraham part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to love them. You've got
The
to be
visions.
happy with them.
Okay.
You've got to be enthusiastic about them. You've got to be inspired by them. You've got to live them. That's the secret. That's the secret.
So the only person that you have any interest in changing is yourself.
That's, well, technically that would be my good Wanderground woman's point of view, that the only person you can change is yourself, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And that any attempt at persuasion is an act of violence, because you're trying to make people believe differently from the way they believe. All you can do, or all I can do, is live my life and hope that by my example others will come to see themselves as capable of doing something similar and being as happy as I am, or being as, well, happy would be a nice word for it, but then that gets into stuff that you and I don't, agree on.
What do you mean?
I mean, that's the Abraham stuff.
Happy as Abraham?
Happy is Abraham. That's the Abraham message. Be happy.